Cell phones, gas pumps, traffic lights, power grids, guided missiles, surveillance, RPAs, ground combat control. There's no such thing as a day without space operations. You just don't see them. Earth is only half the battle. Cyber attacks and jamming of our satellites. Microsatellites that can create a debris field. At 17,000 miles an hour, a piece of metal the size of a coin can be weaponized. Now is the time for a military branch with a clear and singular focus on space. A military branch that protects the hopes and dreams of America and our way of life as the space domain becomes more and more contested. It's time for another giant leap. The United States Space Force is being built from the brightest minds across the space operations of the Air Force, our joint services, and the private sector. We aren't just getting ready for the near future, we're getting ready for the 22nd century. When our enemies ask, what if? We will have an answer. When foreign powers can build bases on the dark side of the moon, when private companies are inventing a new economy beyond our planet, we need to stay one step ahead of the future. And the future is where we'll make history. We will fight in an environment with no up or down, no left or right, where there are no borders and nowhere to hide. Our Space Force is defending our country, here on Earth and wherever our mission takes us. As commerce and exploration expand, we will imagine the unimaginable, anticipate the inconceivable, and prepare for the impossible. We won't just think outside the box, we'll think outside the atmosphere. And one of the
Would you all pray with me? God of all power and might, we gather today in joy for this momentous occasion, the class of Space Test Fundamental graduates. We're fortunate for each airman and guardian who's committed to being a first. My prayer for each student, each teacher, each leader as they carry light into darkness is that all parties involved realize the benefit of the work that they've done, and that for generations to follow, their work will continually be incorporated into the space mission. As they each proceed, may they do so with the satisfaction of a job well done and with a restful and a confident spirit. Continue to bless the work of their hand as they continually serve. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Clark. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would like to start by recognizing a few of our distinguished guests. From the United States Space Force, the Chief of Space Operations, General John J. Raymond. Chief Master Sergeant Roger Talberman, Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force. Ms. Augusta Binns-Berkey, Senior Advisor to the Chief of Space Operations. Brigadier General Sean Bratton, Space Training and Readiness Command Task Force Planning Lead. Colonel Tyler Nick Haig, Senior Astronaut and Space Test Advisor. Colonel Pete Flores, Commander of Space Training and Readiness Delta Provisional. Colonel Robert Hutt, Senior Executive to the Chief of Space Operations. Chief Master Sergeant Susan Sparks, the Advisor to Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force. From the Air Force Operational Test and Evaluation Center, Major General James Sears, Commander. Colonel Kevin Madrigal, Operations Director. Colonel Ramiro Riojas, Commander, Detachment 4. Colonel Glenn Reinhardt, Commander, Detachment 5. From the Space and Missile Systems Center, Colonel Joseph Roth, Director of Innovation and Prototyping. Colonel Brian DeNaro, Senior Material Leader, Strategic Systems Division. Colonel Brian Gamble, Senior Material Leader, Multi-Domain Awareness Division, Portfolio Architect. Colonel Peter Mastro, Chief of Cross Mission Integration Portfolio Architect. From the Air Force Test Center, Dr. Eileen Borkerman, Executive Director. Colonel Keith Rossig, the Vice Commander. From the 412th Test Wing, Brigadier General Matthew Heiger, Commander. Chief Master Sergeant Daniel Thompson, Acting Command Chief. And from the United States Test Pilot School, Mr. David Van Hoy, Technical Director. And Dr. Andrew Freeborn, the Director of Special Programs and the Space Test Fundamentals Course Director. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to the family members attending today and to all the visiting commanders and friends of Class 21-1 who are watching the ceremony virtually. A special thank you to the people who organized this event, the graduation committee from Class 21-1 and the multimedia team. Today marks the culmination of a multi-year effort to establish our first test course to support the United States Space Force, and we are excited to continue to develop and evolve the course to meet the U.S. Space Force needs to produce adaptive, critical thinking test professionals to conduct full-spectrum test and evaluation of space weapon systems. The students have completed a very challenging 3 months, and this afternoon is the culmination of their efforts. Thank you all for joining us today in person and virtually to recognize their accomplishments. Lieutenant Colonel Morgan Sparks will now announce the guest speaker for Class 21-1. Morgan, please join me on stage.
Thank you, Colonel Pabon. Good afternoon, distinguished visitors, faculty, and staff, and Beta Fish. General Raymond is the Senior Uniformed Space Officer responsible for organizing, training, and equipping of all organic and assigned Space Forces, ultimately including space testers. Commissioned into the U.S. Air Force in 1984, General Raymond has commanded at every level. We received his challenge to be agile, innovative, bold, as we develop our lean, mission-focused digital service. Sir, we hope we're living up to your expectations as we push the envelope in space test. It is my distinct privilege to introduce our guest speaker as the first ever Space Test Fundamental Graduation, Chief of Space Operations, General John J. Raymond.
Good afternoon. I'll tell you what a spectacular day it's been. Any day you get to fly out of Washington, D.C. is a good day, but to be able to come here, and to be part of something that's first ever is really cool and really exciting and really important. You know, over the past probably 35 years, I've had the opportunity to visit Edwards on 3 different occasions. I used to have a unit that was assigned here called the 18th Space Surveillance Squadron years ago, and I had an opportunity to visit them a couple times, and then much earlier in my career, I was able to come watch a rocket engine test. And I'll tell you, 2 things come to mind when I see Edwards. First is the dry lake bed, and an impressive sight when flying into Edwards. And I'm told in talking with Nick Hague on the way in here, who flew on the International Space Station, that is equally striking from low Earth orbit as you orbit around the Earth. The second is the people. And I've always been energized by the imagination, the courage, and the commitment of the people that are stationed here. Day in and day out, the team here advances our air and space forces' technological edge. And so for all those that are here, thank you very much for what you do for our department and for our Air Force and for our Space Force each and every day. Today's no different, and I'm energized and excited, as you talked about in the introduction, to the charge that I gave you for the bold, agile, and innovative airmen and guardians who will be the first graduates, the very first graduates of our Elite Test Fundamentals course. Earlier today, I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to the folks that are in the course, and I got asked the question, you know, what is it that you're looking for after this course that we didn't have before? And what we really didn't have before was we didn't have a test program. We had pieces of a test program, but we didn't have the entire test program that we need. And the folks that are graduating from this course are going to help build this vision that we've got for an integrated test capability that's going to be so important for a service that operates in a warfighting domain just like air, land, and sea. I want to thank Major General Spears. Thank you, sir. It's great to be with you again, and I appreciate you coming down. Governor Bratton, where are you? There you are. General Hyder, Mr. Van Hoy, Dr. Brookman, and all the distinguished leaders and guests that are here. It means a lot that you came. It means a lot that you've supported this program, and I want to thank you on behalf of the entire United States Space Force for all of your leadership to help us get to this point. We wouldn't have gotten here by ourselves by any stretch of the imagination, like we just talked about last week. This took a lot of your support, and it's not lost on me. And again, thank you. To the graduates, the Beta Fish, I'm honored and proud and humbled to be with you today. See that? Celebrating a milestone for our new service. You were handpicked from a pool of about 160 applicants, not only to attend this inaugural space course, but to help us build this course as you attended it, to help us get this right, to define its future and its initial space test cadre. Yes, you were the beta testers of the course itself, simultaneously studying hard and developing the future of our space test education and training program. The Test Pilot School is the means by which the Department of the Air Force expands the technological supremacy of the nation's air and space and cyberspace forces. For more than 75 years, this Test Pilot School has trained and educated the Air Force's test leaders, bold pilots, WIZZOs, engineers, and astronauts. And today, we expand upon that legacy, once again pushing the envelope, graduating the first class dedicated to testing in a new and contested warfighting domain, the ultimate high ground, that being space. During your time here, the faculty and guest instructors, your classmates, and the curriculum have opened the doors to ideas and concepts that you hadn't yet explored. Exercising test fundamentals to plan, conduct, and report on glider flights simulating an X-37 reentry. Learning system sciences associated with test techniques for radar, electro-optical, communications, data links, electronic warfare, human systems integration, and crew resource management. Studying the science of the space environment, satellite subsystems, orbital dynamics, rendezvous and proximity operations, propulsion, all culminating in a capstone project that you brought together, where you brought together everything that you learned, writing a test plan, executing a space system simulation, evaluating the software tools, and producing a test report and an out brief for your senior leaders. And you did this all in 3 months. Throughout it all, you've gained perspectives you lacked and new ways of looking at our nation's toughest technological challenges. To the Air Force Test Center and to the Test Pilot School, again, thank you. It's in just a little over a year, your leadership and collaboration turned the idea of a space test course into reality. And I look forward to building a rich tradition of collaboration between the air and space test communities. Thank you also to the Air Force, Space Force, and NRO team around the nation who loaned you as our best and brightest for the past 3 months. The time your guardians and airmen have spent here at Space Test Fundamentals will enrich your team's ability to develop, field, test, operate these new capabilities, and their contributions to the development of the inaugural course itself are invaluable. Over the past 3 months, your classmates left an enduring impression on you. You are airmen and guardian from diverse backgrounds. You represent nearly all of the space warfighting disciplines, operators, engineers, program managers, ranging in rank from Specialist 4 to Lieutenant Colonel and 2 civilians. Let me highlight a few. Mr. Bruce Boss Bishop, U.S. Air Force Colonel retired, though most of his classmates didn't know that. You know, when I went to college, I had a colonel retired in one of my classes, and he always broke the curve. And so I really appreciate you helping grow and mentor and teach these folks as you went through the class. With nearly 4 decades of service as a military member, government, civilian, and contractor, 17 of which were in the test business. Bruce has a thirst for knowledge and a passion to help improve the space test enterprise. He brought a unique perspective to this course, and his classmates are richer for it. So thank you very much. Specialist 4 Haley Rick Roll, where are you? There you are. And Sergeant Charles Kerbal Langdon, where are you? Breaking barriers are as not only the first Space Test Fundamentals graduate, but also the first enlisted to graduate a test pilot school program side by side with officers and civilians. And Captain Austin Dino Cooner, where are you? There you are. Not even COVID could keep you down. During 2 years of the toughest weeks of your life with a significantly high temperature, you insisted on zooming into class every day to get the most out of this program. You've impressed this faculty, you've impressed your home unit leadership so much that you'll even be coming back to support the next 2 classes. So thank you very much, and glad you're doing well. I know you have learned as much from each other as from the course itself. The professional bonds and the friendships you've made will carry you through a distinguished career in test. There are two staff members I would especially want to recognize as well. Lieutenant Colonel Anna Sumo Gungolkin, where are you, Anna? There you are. I've had the opportunity to work with Sumo for several years. Your mentorship and leadership was a driving influence for this class, and I have no doubt you will continue shaping our test culture as one of the first space test program squadron commanders. So congratulations. And Dr. Andrew Sonic Freeborn, sir. There you are. A special thank you to you as well. From the first day of planning this course until today, you've led this effort. The impact of this course on the Space Force cannot be overstated, and we are here today because of your tireless effort and vision. So again, my hat's off to you, and thank you very much. Finally, there's one more group I'd like to recognize, and that's the many family members that are either here today or watching in person, or watching via virtual. To the proud mothers, fathers, spouses, sons, daughters, friends, colleagues, and brand new babies. I hear 2 were born during these 3 months. No one gets through a career in the military, or no one gets through a course like this, as rigorous as this, without strong support from family and friends. And so, again, these graduates couldn't serve or lead effectively without you. If they're as smart as we think they are, they will thank you when they get done with this ceremony. And thank you for all the great support that you provided. And please know that we greatly appreciate it as well, and we're glad to have you on the Space Force team. You know, this type of developmental education is critical, but it's what you do with it after you graduate that provides the nation value. As a beta, you are on the ground floor of space test. You have an opportunity to define the future of this domain. I challenge you to be innovative and be bold. Our nation needs you. And I'll tell you that the capabilities that we have today are not the capabilities that are going to win the day in the future. And you're going to have a critical role in helping us field these new capabilities and get them out the door and make sure that they work. Today, we are operating in an extremely complex security environment. And there's a lot that can go wrong and many challenges that lie ahead. Now more than ever, we need technically minded joint warfighters to drive out this important transformation. And here you are, equipped with new knowledge and new perspectives, to turn challenges into opportunities, to prepare for conflict, so that we can keep great power peace. In a future war, we cannot assume that we will have the benefits or time the time to be able to secure space. Warfare is going to be global. It will be multi-domain, across multiple threat vectors from land, sea, air, space, cyberspace, and the electromagnetic spectrum. It will transcend the areas of responsibility that we've drawn on maps, and modern wars will be fast-paced, accelerated by connectivity, information, and data technology. The future of combat operations will be characterized by speed over incredible distance and with great precision. United States Space Command, the command that we primarily provide support to, is charged to protect and defend an AOR that's 100 kilometers above the Earth's surface and out. That's an extremely vast domain. But even the vastness of space doesn't buy us time. Operations in space happen very fast. Just to stay in space, something has to be traveling 17,500 miles an hour. And the weapon systems that our adversaries are developing move even faster. While I have no doubt that our joint and coalition forces are the envy of the world, our advantage is eroding, and parity undermines global stability. So today, China is our nation's pacing challenge. As a military, we cannot afford to cede our technological advantage. We must rapidly evolve to stay ahead of that growing threat. Test is at the core of our ability to deliver credible combat capabilities at speed. Yet we have come to understand that we must transform our historical approach to test to meet the demands of a space as a warfighting domain. It will require establishing bold new organizations capable of integrating the full spectrum of tests, combining classically stovepiped experimentation, developmental tests, operational tests, and tactics development. It will require significant investment in innovative space test infrastructure, bringing to bear the power of digital engineering combined with ground and on-orbit tests. But most importantly, it's going to require the development of a professional space test workforce capable of serving a fundamental role, integrating and evaluating emerging capabilities, helping us learn, and guiding us forward. And that is you. There is no better moment than now, and no one better than you to lead this charge. Imagination, courage, and persistence defines this class. As you return to the field, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fall short. That's why we test. We learn tenfold from our failures, and in the end, we get it right. Thank you again for inviting me here today. Thank you to the team for building this course, for putting on this course, and to the students that not just took the class but helped build the class. Thank you for your service. Thank you for volunteering to come into the Space Force, and congratulations on being the first. You will see one of the cool things about being in the Space Force, we have a saying that we make history every day because everything is new. And I couldn't be more excited for you, and I couldn't be more excited for us that you're on our team. Make sure you help us. Don't be bashful. Give us your ideas. Help us get this right. And just know how proud we are of each and every one of you. Semper Super.
On behalf of the Space Test Fundamentals class, we would like to present you with a class patch and a coin as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. They said we have to go over here, sir.
I would now like to invite Lieutenant Colonel Morgan Sparks to deliver her class leader address. The class leader is responsible for leading from within, for being the conduit of information between the students and the staff at TPS. Lieutenant Colonel Sparks had the privilege of doing all this while also being an STF student. I met with her weekly over the last 3 months, and she never failed to display the kind of leadership and professionalism that we expect from all of our test professionals. Lieutenant Colonel Sparks, on behalf of your classmates and the entire TPS staff, thank you for all of your hard work and leadership.
Thank you, Colonel Pabon. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. On behalf of the class, I'd like to take a moment to welcome General Raymond and Chief Toberman, distinguished visitors, leaders, family and friends, both that are here with us today, as well as virtually. Thanks again for making the time to be here today. The significance of your presence today speaks volumes for the importance of this new endeavor, and we are happy to be just a small part of this legacy. I am honored to represent the first Space Test Fundamentals class. The high desert has always been the aerospace testing center of the universe, so Edwards has seen its share of firsts. Handpicked for this opportunity, my classmates and I take seriously the responsibility associated with being a first. In this case, the first not only to complete the Space Test Fundamentals course, but also the first to test the Space Test Fundamentals course. Along with the faculty and staff, our class's contributions to the course will elevate the test enterprise for years to come. As the first class, we were, by design, the beta testers. Playing on the term beta test, we adopted the beta fish as our class mascot. And you can see 2 beta fish proudly on the class patch displayed behind me. There are 2 fish, one orange fish and one blue fish. The orange fish represents test, as flight test orange has classically been used to identify test assets. The blue fish represents the United States and its allies and partners. You'll notice how the flight test orange and allied fish are intertwined on a black background. This represents the newly acknowledged space warfighting domain and tests ability to make the U.S. stronger. The 15 stars in the background represent each of the students of the class, and the moon represents our class mentor, Sumo, who guided us through the past 13 weeks. The aerospace vehicle orbiting the fish represent the test pilot school's heritage moving to a new domain, the space domain. The Latin phrase illumina tenebris, or enlighten the darkness, represents how we approach tests, exploring the unknown and creating a robust approach and innovative workforce for space test. Like the test pilots and engineers in the Air Force before us, we, the betas, are ready to lead the Space Force into the unknown. Now that you have some historical context of the class, let's talk about the people. The more we learned about our beloved beta fish, the more we realized its characteristics truly did reflect our class. Betas are ready for whatever lies ahead. The students embraced this opportunity with boldness and resilience. We overcame COVID, both the illness and associated restrictions, away from family and friends, and with the challenges brought forth by life here in the high desert. Edwards is a place for those who are passionate about tests, and we fit right in. Beta fish are also driven to explore their environment. Our class is incredibly inquisitive. Our goal was to learn everything that we could about test and space. So in addition to learning everything the curriculum had to offer, we filled every extra minute here exploring the heritage of flight test, visiting with industry partners, and asking questions. Lots of questions. I think it is safe to say we achieved our learning goal. Finally, beta fish are known for sometimes being aggressive. Our class's passion for the course mimicked the beta fish's aggression in the best possible way at every turn. We were charged with setting the standard for the course, and throughout the past 13 weeks, we not only learned, but we took bold action to improve the course and space test outcomes for those that will follow. As the Space Force's initial test cadre, we must aggressively establish a warfighting culture to ensure a peaceful, secure, stable, and accessible space domain. I think I speak for all the betas when I say that we will never forget our time here. Now we will play a short video to share with you some of our memories.
choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. Is he understood?
For space test. We cannot settle for the status quo and must continue to drive towards appropriate and calculated risks. We must continue to be bold and creative, and it is up to us to extend TEST into the contested space domain. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Sparks. The students of STF 21-1 come from a diverse background, representing nearly all space warfighting disciplines, operators, engineers, and program managers, and ranging in rank from Specialist 4 through Lieutenant Colonel and to civilians. In addition to the United States Space Force, they also represent the United States Air Force and National Reconnaissance Office. Their coursework focused on test fundamentals, systems, and space sciences, and included an immersion field trip as well as a capstone project. Not only are these the first students to complete the Space Test Fundamentals course, but they were selectively chosen to be beta testers of the course itself. Their work here was twofold, and they studied hard and shaped the future of the Space Test Education and Training Program. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. We will now graduate the students of Class 21-1. General Raymond, Brigadier General Heiger, and Colonel Pabon, will you please join me on stage for the presentation of graduate plaques and patches? And graduates, as your name is called, come to the stage to receive your graduation plaque and patch. Ms. Evelyn Kent. Mr. Bruce Bishop. Specialist 4, Haley Roll. Sergeant Charles Langdon. First Lieutenant Francis Ambian. First Lieutenant Jared Bogdan. First Lieutenant Emily Remeda. Captain A.J. Roskowinski. First Lieutenant Lucas Shaper, who is joining us virtually today. Sir, you mentioned 2 babies born. That was one last night, his wife. It's a good excuse. Captain Austin Crooner. Captain Jason Gabriel. Major John Anderson. Major Eric Bassett. Major Michelle Willett. And your class leader, Lieutenant Colonel Morgan Sparks. General Raymond, Brigadier General Heiger, and Colonel Pabon, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's events. On behalf of the graduating class and the Test Pilot School staff, we would like to thank you for sharing this very special afternoon with us. A final round of applause for our newest group of space test professionals. Class 21-1 Beta Fish, you are dismissed.